How long is this segment?
Um, uh, I was given 30 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you can have a little longer if you like, but
No.
Okay.
So I don't, right now, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about for 30 minutes. But anyway.
Okay, cool. All righty. So, So I'm really excited to be speaking to you, Ms. Greta Oglesby, about your role as Fannie Lou Hamer in Fannie uh, at TheatreWorks, the music and life of Fannie Lou Hamer. And I just love everything that Cheryl L. West has written. She can't
Me
write
too.
anything that's not
Me
wonderful.
too.
I mean, and I'm so sure she's representing our dear sister, our ancestor, Fannie Lou Hamer, who actually made her transition in March. so this is like a real way to like pour libations for real,
Yeah.
about her life. And it's directed by Tim Bond. And it's going to be at TheatreWorks Silicon Valley at the Lucie Stern Theatre in Palo Alto, March 8th through April 2nd, 2023. Yes. And so opening night is March 11th. So, you know, you want to be in the house, but I'm just thinking, you know, International Women's Day, you know, like that's when the previews start. I mean, how perfect to have this Black woman who did so much for freedom,
yes,
for our people, you know. I mean, I was just getting all choked up just remembering how much pain she suffered for wanting to be a free person, to be able to vote, you know, like, oh my goodness. So I guess maybe I should like read your bio. and then we can just jump into it. But I just want to say that you are portraying one of my all-time heroes, Fannie Lou Hamer. I love her. I just love her. She was born October 6th, and her life, you know, was much too short. But that's because, you know, the civil rights movement was a war, and she's a veteran, and people get injured in the war. And oh my goodness, I can't imagine how you're gonna do this. And this is not the first time you portrayed her, right? This particular piece.
Yes, I'm approaching it for the second time.
Yeah. Right, and you know, and you do these iconic characters, because once you're dead and somebody writes you, you're a character, you're not a person anymore. Right. So, so Aunt Esther, I could put her in the same sentence as Fannie Lou Hamer. Aunt Esther, she was so old, you couldn't even calculate her age. You know, she had that red door at the top of the hill, you know.
Yeah,
and you portrayed
285 years old.
Straight up, you know, like counting. and I just love Aunt Esther. And then when I was reading your bio, I didn't know that you originated that character. Like you were at the Goodman Theater. Like, oh my gosh. Like you are Fannie, you are like, you know, anybody else's imitation.
You are way too kind.
No, seriously. Don't you all see it like radiating off of her?
It was an honor. It really was. It really was. I was I live in Minneapolis, and so I was doing a play at the Goodman, not at the Goodman, at Penumbra Theater in St. Paul, which is part of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I was doing an August Wilson play, Joe Turner's Come and Gone. And August Wilson was in the audience on opening night. And I mean, we all knew he was coming, but I had, you know, I told everybody, it's like, you know, I don't know where he's sitting. I don't, you know, just don't say anything about August until the play is over, because it just gave me way too much angst. And so at intermission, our director, Claude Purdy, runs in just bowled over with excitement and joy. And he goes, Greta, August loves you, and he wants to meet you after the show. And he says he's writing something that you'd be perfect for. And I was like, oh my God, get out right now. This is too much for me to hear right now. I'm trying to get through this show, right? And so sure enough, August, his people called me months later and said, you know, we'd like for you to join us for the premiere of Gem of the Ocean. And August is still writing, but he, you know, he wants to know your availability and are you available? And I wasn't at the time. And I said, I'm not available, but I will make myself available. And I didn't even know what role it was. So the role that I turned down was Seven Guitars, which was another August Wilson play, to do Gem of the Ocean. And so when they finally sent me the script, and it said, you know, with the contract and who my character was, and it said Aunt Esther, I just couldn't believe it. I just thought, oh my God, I can't believe he, you know, he thinks that I can play this woman. And so as I was reading through the script, it's not a lot of, there aren't many times that you can pick up a script and you love every word coming out of the mouth of that character. And that's how I felt about Aunt Esther. She was so familiar and so familial to me because I grew up in Chicago, but all of my, I was surrounded by a bunch of wonderful Black women. My mother had 7 sisters, and just one of my aunts, which you can probably relate to, one of my aunts was a hairdresser, and she did hair out of her kitchen. That was the beauty shop. And every Saturday, we went to TT's house, you know, to get our hair done. And so us little girls, you know, we'd sit down and we'd just be listening, you know, to just the repartee in the room and just the amazing stories that these women just shared, and all the wisdom and knowledge that they just poured in us. It was just, you're just so life-giving. So when I read Aunt Esther, she reminded me of all of these women, all of my aunts, my mother, my grandmothers, and so I just fell in love with her just from that first read. So anytime someone calls me to say, you know, can you come do Aunt Esther? I come running because it's a role that I absolutely love, a character that I can't shake. I cannot shake her, and I love that woman. I really do. So we're so glad to be here doing it with Tim, who is an amazing, amazing director. And Tim is another one. When Tim says, you know, can you get here? I come running. And so when he offered this Fannie role to me, I was on a plane, like, I'm coming, getting there fast as I can.
Oh, that's so wonderful, you know, that you know, folks have that kind of relationship with you, you know, because
It's a
you know,
blessing.
they
It really is just a
Mhm,
blessing. I never take it for granted. You know,
mhm.
I was my sister. I was on a Zoom call at 6 a.m. yesterday morning with my sister who works for a big company in Orlando. And I had gone down Black History Month maybe 2 years ago. And I did like a little program for them, right? And it was an iconic character that I played. And then I sang some spirituals and blah, blah, blah. And so my sister and I were talking yesterday, and just right now, that's because I'm old now, I just lost exactly what I was getting ready to say. It just went right out of my head. It'll come back in a moment, but I brought that up to say something, and I don't know why I brought it up, but let's move
Were
on,
you,
and then it'll come
well, I
back.
think you were, well, you were talking about, we were talking about how, you know, some people can call you and you're there, and you were talking about a Black History Month program there. I don't know.
Yeah,
That helps. No.
that's not what I.
Okay. All
It'll
right.
come back to me. It'll
Okay.
come
Well,
back.
when it does, go ahead and then, you know, insert it. Yeah, but I mean, I just think about, you know, Fannie Lou Hamer and her work, and Aunt Esther, and how she washed souls. Like, you know, she took Citizen. He had to wash his soul, and he had to go on a boat to, you know, to the place, you know, the bones, where
Middle
the bones are.
Passage.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And no, and he had like all these little things which, you know, were metaphors for something bigger,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get on the journey.
Yeah.
And and he just had to believe it, you know, like,
He,
you know, the faith. And I think about Fannie Lou Hamer, it was faith. Cause,
Yeah.
you know, like her husband, ain't nobody was feeling her. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
go. If you want to vote, if you want to be free, you got to get the step and like, well, where am I live? It don't matter. You ain't living here.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah, yeah.
she had a calling on her life, which is, it's different. A calling is, it's different from a career and a job. You know what I mean? It's something that you're called to, and you have to do it, or you're unsatisfied, your soul is unsatisfied. So
Mm,
this was work that meant so much to her, and it was, hell or high water. She's like, this is what I was called to do, and I'm going to do it by any means necessary.
mm,
um yeah, at the end, somewhere of the play, she says, put on, she's still rallying people, saying, put on the shield of faith, put on that
mm.
shield of faith, and let's get this thing done. So it was her saying, I'm sorry, I'm just waving to folks as I'm at work, and so just saying hello to people as they come in the morning. But it was her faith that got her through throughout her life, because it was, I mean, such hard work, but it was work that she believed in, and somebody had to do it, and she was one of those that dedicated her life to this mission. uh, yeah, extremely hard work, but worked she loved, and when it is a calling, you love it. You
Mhm.
love it, or you learn to love it. And I think she loved it because, yeah, yeah, it's something that's in your heart, it's in your soul, it's in your spirit, and it's something that you get up every day, and you put one foot in front of the other, and you keep going because you can't stop. And there might have been days where she wanted to stop, but there was still something on the inside that kept her moving forward, and she couldn't stop. She couldn't stop. It's like, this is my life's work, and I have to do it because I can't do nothing else. I'm not satisfied doing anything else. I think it gave her such, I'm sure, like I said, hard work, but I'm sure it gave her joy to get out and rally people. There's a point in her in her life where she says, when I first started out, only 5% of Black folks was registered to vote in Mississippi. Now it's over 70%.
Mm.
That's, what a feat, and something to be so proud of, that I had a hand in that. um yeah, just an extraordinary life. And of course, I knew Fannie Lou Hamer's name, and growing up, and you heard about her, but I didn't know what she went through until I started working on this piece,
Mm.
and just digging deeper and deeper. I was watching something, there's a short documentary on PBS about her that I watched this week, and
Mhm.
just, I mean, riveting, just riveting. And I love, somebody gave me, anyway, I've been looking at different things. We have a dramaturg that brings information into, to us, to read and to research, and then just reading that transcript, just, oh my God, just brought tears to my eyes. But I love it because it helps me as the actor to really peel back the layers of who she was, and to present that to the audience, so that they're really seeing Fannie Lou Hamer and not just Greta on stage, saying the lines that Cheryl West wrote. Um, so it's always a little a little scary portraying someone who was a real person, because you have to be true to who they were. I just had a photo shoot yesterday, and they were trying to capture some of her iconic the pictures of her. There's one where she's talking to a crowd and she's holding her fist up, So they took a bunch of pictures like that. Like, we want to put that picture right beside her picture. And, but you want to be so true to who the character is. And so we're here, I'm here at the theater now, and we, every day, that's what we're striving for. We're trying to go deeper and to, so that we can present to the masses this extraordinary woman in American history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at from Oregon Shakespeare Festival, your bio from there, and it says that that you have a BA from Rust College in Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Yes, one
I
of
don't
the
know where Holly
historic Black
Springs is, but
colleges.
you know what Mississippi feels like you touched the soil.
Yeah, that red dirt down there, absolutely. Grew, like I said, born and raised in Chicago, but
Right.
I went to Rush College, like I said, one of the historical Black colleges in Holly Springs, Mississippi. It's about 35 miles just south of Memphis. So yeah, I was actually got a finance degree from Rush College, didn't major in theater. Uh, and I actually kind of came to theater late in my life, because I had gone away to school to get a finance degree so that I could become an accountant. And I worked as an accountant for the city of Chicago for 15 years, and just kind of stumbled into acting. And just from that first little show, wow, I just realized that, oh my gosh, I have found a new sanctuary. Yeah, because my dad was a preacher. I'm married to a preacher. And a lot of times, I know I say, my husband hates when I say this, but I say, I married my father. But my dad was a preacher, and yeah, so just being in church all the time in that sanctuary. But when I found theater, I always say I found a new sanctuary, and it's a sanctuary for me. It's again, and for me, this is a calling. It is, it really is. Oh, I know what I was gonna say about my sister. We were talking about a show that I was doing. Anyway, we were on this Zoom call yesterday, and she was sharing with the folks, saying that my husband, after many years, and I've been married 39 years, to be 40 in July. But
Congratulations.
thank you. My husband has has always said that I'm really married to the theater and not him. But my sister was saying that when my husband came and saw me play a woman named Caroline in this amazing musical called
Carolina
Caroline or
Change.
Change,
Yeah.
yeah, he was sitting next to my son, and he said to my son, he said, "We're gonna have to let her go, because this is a calling for her." And that was the first time that he really finally accepted that she's not going to do anything else. And I guess he realized just the magnitude of it. And he finally realized, like I guess he's saying to himself, like me as a preacher, this is a calling for me. But I can look at the way this woman portrays this character, and the way these thousands of people are reacting to her. This is a calling, and it's not a job. It's not just a career. So that was so revelatory for him. And yeah, we haven't had a fight about theater ever since.
Yeah, wow.
That squashed that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was wondering, what was the name of that first play, that sort of your intro into the sanctuary?
It was called Men's, a little musical by, oh Lord, I'm not going to call, Shay Youngblood was the
I know that
playwright.
name.
Shay
Yeah.
Youngblood. I believe she's out here west somewhere in, like, maybe LA or something. But yeah, but a beautiful little musical. And
Mhm.
yeah, I fell in love with it,
Mhm.
and couldn't stop doing it. I mean, I started back in '92, and I was I was doing it part-time for a few years, and then it got to be full-time, and I was still working full-time as an accountant down in City Hall, and
Mm.
it just got to be crazy. And then after about the 15th year, my husband, like I said, he's been pastoring in the United Methodist Church for, oh God, 31 years now. But Dennis got a wonderful appointment in Minneapolis. And so I had to quit my day job. And so when we moved to Minneapolis in 2000, that's when I quit my day job and I started acting full time then. And I have never gone back to, to accounting. I've just been a full time actor since 2000, and it's been just a blessing in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, wow. Well, I'm going to read a little bit more of your bio. Let's see. I thought this was really interesting that you're an Ivy Award, Joseph Jefferson Award, and Black Theater Alliance Award winner. You were the standby for Felicia Rashad for A Raising the Sun on Broadway. And again, we already said that you originated the role of Ann Esther in the world premiere production of Gem of the Ocean at the Goodman Theater. And you performed in A Night with, is it Janine?
Janine Tesori.
As a part of the Lincoln Center's American Songbook series. And your many theater appearances include roles at the Public Theater, 92nd Street, Y, Steppenwolf Theater, Guthrie Theater, Alabama Shakespeare Festival. I know Alabama had a Shakespeare Festival. That
They
sounds
do.
fun. Oh, do you remember what month? That sounds heck of fun.
Let me see. I want to say it was spring, Alabama Shakespeare Festival. Oh, let me see. I believe it was spring.
Oh, wow. How many times have you performed at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival?
Only once. But I've been to Oregon Shakespeare many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 6 or 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you have anything coming up at Oregon?
I don't. No, I don't. No, I got some work back in Minneapolis when I get back. Actually, there's a show called Amelia. It's an adaptation, called Amelia, and that show actually starts rehearsing my last week here. So they'll be in rehearsal, and I'll just be on Zoom watching until I actually get there in person. So got some work coming up in Minneapolis. I was given a grant to produce a concert that is around community and racial healing after the death of George Floyd, since we were right there in the midst of it in the Minneapolis area. And so I'm really excited about that. So I'm curating that right now, and it'll be the kind of the history of American music, African American music in this country. So it'll start in Africa with like a quick little African thing, and then it'll go into the spirituals, jazz, blues, and then end with gospel. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So nothing's bringing you to the West Coast in the near future.
Not in the near future. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then you're continuing the theater. So you've got credit. You performed at the Royal Theater, Penumbra Theater, and the Lincoln Center. Your film and TV credits include Queenpins, CBS's Early Edition, NBC, Chicago PD, Into Temptation, Time Served, and Four-Way Stop. Yeah, so I guess since your father is a pastor, that you grew up singing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So my dad, used to pastor little small storefront churches when we were growing up, and I think he pastored maybe 5 little storefront churches. And in any of those churches, there was never more than 50 members. So there were 5 of us. So we were always the choir. So in all of those churches. So I just, I grew up singing, and we all did. But it was just, Yeah, so it just kind of comes second nature to me. And my more formal training in music was when I went to college. I sang with the Rush College a cappella choir. So we traveled all over the country into Europe and the like. So that's, yep. It's like I've been singing ever since I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So back to Fannie. So some people might not realize how important she is uh, to American culture. And particularly when we think about democracy, we think about human rights, we think about
Hmm.
freedom. And you know, a lot of times the Black woman is not centered in any of these conversations or discussions. Um,
True.
and so, what would be your hope for the work, and who would you like to see in the seats at the theater?
Oh my gosh. So this is um well, my hope is that, that people will leave with a sense of unity and with a sense of, that everybody deserves, the right to vote, because there's so much happening with voting rights right now. It's ridiculous. But that everybody deserves dignity and respect, and to be treated like a human being. Uh, Fannie was so instrumental in getting voting rights passed back in the 60s. And uh, without her work, I don't think that we would be as far, it just would have taken us longer to get there. But she dedicated her life to that. Um, and she's and a lot of people don't know who she is. uh and and sometimes I can mention the name, I'll go, oh, well, I'm going to be at the Lucie Stern Theatre doing Fannie Lou Hamer. They go, who is that? So I hope that people will come out, because I think, she's she's somebody that people should know. People should, I mean, we got our Martin Luther Kings and our Malcolm X's and Medgar Evans, and but you're right. I think that the women were kind of left out, of the narrative, and left out of history. And so it's so important that she be lifted up. And I'm glad that people are getting a chance to hear her name and to know her story, because it's extraordinary. It's just extraordinary.
Yes, certainly, certainly. I don't know. I think about putting Black people on money, and I'm thinking like they need to put her on a quarter or something.
Or
Like wouldn't that be
something,
hot?
right?
Take off.
Oh my
Wouldn't that be
gosh,
nice? Because
right? Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
stick her on a quarter. I
Yes.
know people want to put Harriet Tubman on something, put
Yeah,
Sojourner Truth on something. Like I might start
that'd
spending
be
cash
fantastic.
again as opposed to plastic. If I had some Black women, like, every time I picked up the currency is like, it's like ashe.
Right? Right? Yes. Yes, I agree with you
That'd be
wholeheartedly.
that'd be really cool.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So we were gonna close with an original work that you created for a play that you wrote, Aunt Sadie's Blues,
Yes.
arranged by Sanford Moore. So tell us about this work, as I prepare to share my screen and play it.
Great. Well, I wrote a book back in 2012 called Mama and Them: Handprints on My Life. And then out of that book, as a companion to the book, I wrote a play. And so the play has some original music in it that I wrote. And I'm so proud of it. Again, I think I mentioned this before, that the History Theater in St. Paul, just the Twin City of Minneapolis, is going to produce the play. It's called Handprints, and they're going to produce it in, we're going to go into rehearsal sometime in January of next year. And this is one of the songs from that show. And Aunt Sadie is one of my aunts who's gone on. And it just, yeah, so it's kind of a tribute to her. And anyway.
Okay, cool, super. So I know we're over, so I don't know if you can stay until it finishes.
I can.
Oh, you can? Okay,
Yeah.
super. Okay, so I am sharing my screen. Can you see it?
I can.
Okay, cool. All righty. And here we go.
Oh, something's
Just a
bound.
second. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. I'm Greta Oglesby, and I'm going to sing a little song I wrote called Ain't Sadie's Blues. It's from my upcoming show at 10,000 Things called Handprints. Enjoy. Every morning I greet the day with a new song, 'cause I know something's bound to go wrong. But I got joy, such great joy down in my soul. In the new day, here come the blues, trying to weigh me down. But I know a man walking up and down this town, and he brings peace, such sweet peace to my soul. Well, weeping may endure just for a night, but great joys are coming in the morning light. I once was lost, but now I'm found. One of these days gonna wear me a crown. I got joy, wonderful joy down in my soul. In the evening, the close of day, when I lay me down, as I look back, sometimes my world sings upside down. But if I keep still, he'll bring rest to my soul. Well, weeping may endure just for a night, but great joys are coming in the morning light. Once was lost, now I'm found. One of these days gonna give me a crown. I got joy, wonderful joy down in my soul. Said I got joy, 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 joy down in my soul. Well, I've got joy, joy down in my soul.
How lovely. Thank you so much. Great conversation, and thank you so much for that beautiful song.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I appreciate you allowing yourself to be a conduit for, these iconic female spirits, whether they are living, if they actually walked the earth like Fannie Lou Hamer, or they lived in the imagination of August Wilson, who was channeling the energy and the spirit of our mothers and our mothers' mothers and our mothers' mothers' mothers. Because, Aunt Esther is a lot.
She is. She's a lot of women, she's a lot of women. Just, love her so much.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that you got tapped to join, to find another sanctuary and to be bringing the word, as they say.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You take good care and, have fun, preparing for the role and the various things you have to do with all, the folks that are part of the creative team, the director, the light person, the sound person, the music person, all of that. Because, we see you, but we know that it's a team effort.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Well, Hopefully I'll see you at the show.
Maybe, I'm not sure because I'm still not doing in-person stuff, but it's been really
Get
great
it. I
meeting
get
you
it.
in this way. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You take good care.
Thank you. You too.
All right, peace and
Bye
blessings.
now.
Bye. So we were speaking to Miss Greta Oglesby, who will be Fannie in Fannie, the music and life of Fannie Lou Hamer. Again, that's going to be at TheatreWorks Silicon Valley, March 8th through April 2nd. And to get tickets and for information, you can visit TheatreWorks with the R-E in theater, .org, theatreworks.org, or call 877-662-8978. Again, that's 877-622-8978. And again, it's at the Lucie Stern Theatre, another R-E in theater. And that's at 1305 Middlefield Road in Palo Alto. And there will be student matinees. There will be preview shows, again, begin on the 8th. And then there's opening night on March 11th. And they are going to have some conversations, which are free of cost and open to the community, after the 2 p.m. matinees on Saturday, March 18th and Saturday, March 25th. So yeah, you can go back for the community conversations. But anyway, it's been really lovely. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you in the theater. And if you go, tell me about it. Alrighty, peace and blessings.